Everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to integrate Facebook login inside your Godot game. So yeah, let's get started. So firstly you will have to open this particular documentation, and before we do anything, what you can do is you can open your Android Studio and create an empty views project or a Jetpack Compose project. Doesn't really matter, ignore all these files which I have created. I will come back to this later on. So just create an Android project for now, can be empty views project or Jetpack Compose project. The next thing is open Godot game engine and create a Godot game, simple Godot game. And the very first thing which you have to do is go to project, go to export, click add Android, okay, and scroll down at the very bottom, and here you can add your unique package name. This is necessary because we will need to register this unique package name on the Facebook SDK page. So make sure you have this to set up. I think we will also be requiring a SHA-1 certificate, but I'll come back to that later on. Hopefully I have that particular. Again, ignore this, like this is just a practice project which I had created previously. So here if you go to Facebook login, the first thing which you have which I will do is I'll just open this link in a new tab. So I'll just click create on new app. I will open this in a new tab. If you are doing it, of course you would require a Facebook login. So if you haven't created a Facebook account, you can create that. And if you are doing this for the very first time, Facebook might also ask you for your mobile number. So if it does, just enter your mobile number and verify it. Then I'll just over here I'll just click on next. Here I will select this Facebook login, and I'll click on next again. Now here it might depend on you. Some people use Godot engine to create normal apps, so select whatever makes sense to you. I'll just click yes, I'm building a game. I'll click next. Then here we have to add our app name, so I'll just enter my awesome, like I'm not sure what the spelling of awesome is. Awesome, yeah, awesome Godot game. I'll click on next again, and here again this is fine. Click on create app, enter your password. I'll click on submit, and this might take a little bit of time to create our app. Okay, so our app is created. The important thing which you have to do is go to review, no sorry, not review, go to use cases, and here like I want to fetch the email as well as so here you can see it is like Facebook login for gaming profile, gaming user picture. I'll click on customize. Okay, I also need the so here you can see it is gaming profile. If you had chosen a normal app, you would see things a lot different. So again like so things would be different depending on what you have selected. So I have selected app, right? I have selected game, right? So that's why I'm getting this. But if you have selected app, you might have received email as well as profile picture. So use whatever makes sense to you. So I'll come back to this later on. So again I'll go back to this original page, and here I will select my app. Okay, next I don't know why they are recommending us to download the Facebook app. Even without it, it works perfectly fine. Even on a real device, like it opens a web browser, and in that you can enter your credentials. So I'm not really sure. Next we will come back to this later on. So the next thing what you have to do is open your Android Studio, so the Android project which you have created, and inside over here you will have to right click new module, select Android library, and here you can give it a name as my library or change it to whatever you feel like. Change the package name again to whatever you feel like, and then just click on finish. I have already created it, that's why it is not allowing me to create again. So then it will take a little bit of time to do all the Gradle sync and all that stuff. So later on here you can see this my library folder been created. Then the next thing which you have to do is go to build.gradle.kts, and here we will first have to add this particular dependency, right? So this Maven Central is by default present when you create an Android project. So if you want to see, just go to settings.gradle.kts, and here you can see Maven Central is present. So you can ignore this for now. Next, the next thing which we have to do is we have to integrate this particular plugin, right? So I can just copy paste this particular plugin, and while pasting it, I have pasted it something like this. Now this is a new thing in newer Android Studio versions. Like, we just have to write implementation libs.facebook.login, and the actual name is written inside libs.versions.toml. So here you can see at the time of me recording, the latest version of Facebook login is 17.0.0. so use whatever is the latest login for you. So I've just copy pasted this, and here I have just again here I have written the actual thing com.facebook. So if you see com.facebook.android:facebook-login, so the entire thing is written over here, and here we are just referencing from our from our build.gradle. Again, ignore this libs.godot, I'll come back to that later on. And then you can just click on sync. Now it will download all the dependency for you. Okay, next is, okay, we have to add this, right? So I'll just tell you the entire bit of code. Okay, so at the time of me recording this video, I am using Godot 4.2.2. But if you are using higher version, you will have to use that particular version in build.gradle. So firstly, just add this implementation libs.godot. Then inside libs.versions.toml, here you can see I have added this Godot 4.2.2 stable. If you want to check this particular version, you can check it on Maven Central. And here, as you can see, I am referencing my Godot library. So add this bit of code as well, and then again click on sync. Now it will download all the dependency for you. Then you will have inside your library, create a Kotlin. Inside Kotlin plus Java, here you have to create one Kotlin file called Godot Android plugin. We'll come back to this code later on. Just create a file called Godot Android plugin, then go to android manifest.xml, and here now we will be copying some code from the documentation. Okay, so firstly, what the documentation says is we have to create a strings.xml file. Okay, so first go to res. So here you might not be getting this res folder, so you will have to create this res folder inside your library. Create an res folder, inside that create a folder called values, and inside that create strings.xml. And here then you can just copy paste this and paste it over here. So I have just pasted it over here. Then we need to get this actual value, right? So you can again go to this particular thing which we had, and over here go to settings, go to basic, and firstly we require this app id. So I'll just copy this app id and I'll paste it over here. And for FB login protocol scheme also we require the app id, so just keep the FB word same and then just paste your app id. Then we require this Facebook client token, so for that go to advanced, and over here, okay, so here is your Facebook client token. I'll copy it and again I'll paste it over here. Okay, again come back to the documentation. So here you say it says that add this bit of code. So firstly go to Android manifest. Of course we would require the internet permission because of for Facebook login. I'll come back to this later on. This is specified in the documentation as well. The first thing which you have to do, add the application tag. Now this I have just copied it from the Godot Android plugin documentation and add this bit of code as well, but here you will have to change few things. So the first thing which is, again I'll come back to my Godot Android plugin, and here you can firstly add all these dependencies which we have. Create a class name called Godot Android plugin, extend it from Godot plugin. Ignore all this code for now as well, I will come back to this later on. Just create a plugin name. The plugin name which I have given is just my plugin, but you can use a proper name, but do remember this name because we will be using this in lot other places as well. So whatever name you have given for your plugin name, same name you have to use it over here as well. Okay, this part will remain common. Now for this should be your package name. So in case if you forgot, you can go to your Godot Android plugin and copy this package name, paste it over here, and this is your file name, Godot Android plugin. Okay, then as you can see, I have just copy pasted these two metadata tags, and I have just pasted it over here. Then again it tells us to copy this Facebook activity as well as custom tag activity. Again I have just copy pasted it and copied it and pasted it over here. Okay, so this part is done as well. Then here, as you can see, it tells us to add users permission internet, which I have already added. Also it tells us to add this permission add ID if you want to opt out of advertising ID permission. So I want to opt out of it, so that's why I have added this as well. Okay, so we have to add our package name. So again, go to Godot, copy your package name. I'll copy my package name and I'll paste it over here. And here it asks for a default activity class name. Now for this, what you will have to do is you will have to go to project, install Android build template, and just click on install. If you are doing it for the very first time, you will have to download it as well. I have already done that, so that's why it is showing to me something like this. Now what I'll do is I'll go to my Godot project. So I'll go to this Godot Facebook. So this is my Godot project. Okay, go to Android, go to build. Okay, and inside VS Code I just want to see what's the entry point. So here, as you can see, the activity name is Godot app. Okay, so let's see if they have something inside src com. I'm showing you this because in future it might change. So here you can see it is Godot app.java. Let's see whether it's an activity or not. Yeah, it is an activity. It is Godot app. Okay, so that's the entry point. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it over here. But here you also need the package name. So I'll just copy this, paste it over here, dot whatever is your default activity name. I'll click on save. Okay, then here, as you can see, it requires the development key hash. So for Mac OS you can run this particular thing, but do remember, when you are trying to release it to Google Play Store, you would need to regenerate your SHA1 key. So again, for that, again you will have to replace this Android debug key with whatever alias name you have given. You will have to replace wherever your key store path is located. So that kind of stuff. So what I'll do is, so I think, so here you can see it has given it for release key hash as well. So I'll just copy this and I'll just paste it inside my terminal. So hopefully it should give me so here the default password for debug key is just Android. So just type Android and you should get this. So I'll just copy this. Okay, sorry, this is not SHA1, this is something else. I'm not really sure what this is. Okay, but key hash. Okay, so here for release you have to use this, so be careful. Again I'll click on save. So you will have to change this. Then single sign-on I don't want. Now here comes the tricky part. So this code which they have given, so this is a Facebook login button, right? But I can't use this code because this is Android specific code. Like currently, as far as I know, it is not possible to embed a native UI inside your Godot game. So if I want to embed an Android UI, I can't do that. So I think in Godot 3 there was a Gast plugin. I'm not really sure. That is still not possible in Godot 4. So that's why the thing which you have to do is, when you create a button on your Godot side, make sure it matches the Facebook login button so that the user does not get confused. I haven't done that. I have just kept a simple button. Again, that's pretty easy part. That's not part of the this tutorial. Now I will ignore this code, because when you create a custom button and you are trying to log in via Facebook, the code is a little bit different. But if you manage to integrate this Facebook login button, then you will have to follow this particular guide. Okay, but I will ignore this because this is not really helpful for me. But I'll just quickly check, is there anything else which I want to copy? I don't need this express login. Okay, so I think that's fine for now. So I'll come back to my Android project, and here, as you can see, so come back to our Kotlin file. Here firstly we have to create a callback manager as well as login manager. Then on Godot setup completed, I'm initializing callback and login manager, and here we are registering a callback. So once the sign in method is called, the callback comes over here. So in case if it is success, I'm calling get user details. In case if it is cancel, I'm emitting a signal that okay, it was cancelled. In case of an error, I'm sending an error message. Now I'm using the same signal for everything, but if you want, you can use different signal as well. I'll show you where exactly I'm registering the signal. So here I'm overriding another method, so here I'm registering the signal. So if you want, you can register multiple signals as well, but here I'm just registering one signal. Okay, then here I'm annotating it with @ used by Godot. So is user signed in? Now this basically checks whether the user has already signed in with Facebook or not. So suppose if the user opens the app for the second time, then again we don't want to show them the Facebook login button, right? So internally inside on ready or somewhere else, wherever you feel comfortable, you can easily call this method and check if you are able to, if you have this access token or not. If yes, that means the user is signed in, and then you can take appropriate action. Okay, so but here once I have the token, again I'm fetching the user details. You can do whatever you feel like. In case if it is not, if it is very first time, I'm just displaying a toast message, but again if you want, you can send a signal as well. For sign in, again we just have to use login manager dot login with read permission. Now here comes the tricky part. So if you remember when we were using Facebook, like when we were registering our app with Facebook, it did ask us whether your app is a gaming or not. If you have selected not, then you can select this email and public profile. So if you see over here, I have defined this constant for email and public profile. If you go to your app, Facebook app, inside use cases, if it is not a gaming app, so if I just click on customize, so here you can see it is showing me gaming underscore profile and gaming underscore user underscore picture. So there, but if you haven't selected, so because this is, we have selected it is a gaming app. If you haven't selected, it is a, if you have selected it is not a gaming app, then you might be seeing email as well as public profile picture. Given that this is this, I will have to use this as well as this. So again you will have to be careful. Now if you want, you can just change it. I'll just refactor it, quickly refactor. Now even I am not sure, because will this work or not. Hopefully it should work, because I'm not sure what's the difference between a normal profile and a gaming profile on Facebook. So the profile which I have is not a gaming profile. So let's see. If it doesn't work, then I will just create a, let's see what's happened. Let's see, refactor, rename. Again this should be what, gaming. At least I should get my email even if I don't have any gaming data. User picture, or at least the picture. Let's see. Okay, I think the gaming profile part. All right. Okay, now let's come back where we were. So here we had this sign in method, and here I was just signing in by passing the gaming profile as well as the gaming user picture. For sign out, all you have to do is login manager dot logout. That's it. Okay, so the next is getting the user details. So here you can see I'm just taking an access token. Once you have the access token, you have to make a graph request, and here email would be null. The reason is because again we have selected game when we were trying to create our app via the Facebook SDK. If you have selected, if it was not a game, then you would have got an email, but you can check the documentation on what all fields you can get. So here again, even though I'm getting email, it would be null, but name and ID you will get those properties. Then again I'm sending this back to the Godot side, and in case of any exception, again I'm sending it back to Godot side. I'm using the same signal, but if you want, you can use different signal. So here you can see I am creating a bundle and I am adding parameters of fields. So I'm passing ID, name and email, but here instead of email you can change it to whatever you feel like you can go through the documentation on what all fields it supports. I think profile picture is one, and then we just assign our parameters to our request and execute it asynchronously. Then the callback comes over here. Okay, then we also have to override this on main activity result, because this will help us to automatically call this when sign in is successful, so it automatically calls the on activity result, and which internally calls this particular bit of code. Okay, all right, and here I have just defined this particular thing. All right, so let's go to the documentation again. So we are done with this. The next thing, like I have created this cheat sheet from this Godot Android plugin documentation. If you want, you can refer the original documentation as well. Okay, coming back over here. So the next thing which we have to do is, so you will have to go to your project, and here you will have to go to the project drop down. Inside your library you will have to create a folder called export scripts template. First create a file called plugin.cfg. again you can just copy paste it, but this should be your own plugin name, don't copy mine, otherwise it might result in issue. Change the description author to whatever you feel like. Then here I have created another file called export_plugin.gd. again I have copy pasted everything from the documentation. Only thing which you have to be careful of is this should be your plugin name, and there is one extra thing which we have to add is get Android dependency. I'll just remove this space. So here as you can see, okay, just a second, I'll just copy it from here, you don't have to worry about it. So here given that there is this extra Facebook login dependency which we had inside our build.gradle, that's why we also need to add this particular method as well. If you have more dependency inside your build.gradle, you have to add it inside this array, provided that they are comma separated. Again, the version which I am using inside my build.gradle is 17. If you are using different version, make sure you update it to that particular version. Okay, rest everything is copied from docs. Again, this should be your own plugin name, don't copy my plugin name. Once this is done, so this part is done, this part is done, this part is done. So then you will have to open your terminal and you will have to go to the root of your Android project. So here you can see Godot Facebook. So this is my root of my Android project, right? So my Android project name was my Android app. So just open your terminal, go to the root of your Android project, and then just run this particular command. So this will generate AAR file for you. So if I go to my Android app, go to my library, and here inside build outputs AAR, here you can see 2 AAR files being generated. Okay, then what you will have to do is, so here is our coming back to our Godot project. Firstly, inside your Godot project you will have to create a folder called add-ons. Inside that, create a folder with your own plugin name, then create a folder called bin, and inside bin create 2 folders, debug and release. Now inside your plugin folder you will have to copy the export plugin.gd as well as plugin.cfg, which I have which we had created inside our Android plugin, right? So just copy paste these files and paste it inside your plugin folder, and inside bin, so if I show you now, you will have to copy this debug AR file to the debug folder, release AR file to the release folder. So I will quickly show you that as well. So I'll go to my Godot project, Android build, sorry, not Android, add-ons, my plugins, bin, debug. Okay, and paste the debug AR file to the debug folder. So I already had one, so I'll just remove the older one, and I'll change the name of the newer one to whatever is your plugin name -debug.ar, and you will have to like this release should be inside the release folder. So I'll just drag and drop inside the release folder. Okay, why is this not working? Okay, I'll go to the release folder and drag, and here also I have some older release file. Again, it might be empty for you, so I'll just change the name to my plugin -release.ar. Okay, then you will have to go to project, project settings, go to plugins, and make sure you check this particular checkbox as well. And now coming back to the code, so here as you can see I have created 3 buttons: get user details, sign in and sign out, and one label. And if you see, I have attached one script to it. I have attached all the press listeners or press signals for all the buttons, and I have also created one label. So as you can see over here, so the name of my plugin is my plugin, rest everything will remain same for you. And here we are initializing our plugin. Also make sure this is your signal name. So whatever is your signal name, use it over here. If you have multiple, you can just repeat this bit of code, just change your signal name. And here once this signal is called, it invokes this particular method called on test signal. Whatever data you have, I'm just displaying it inside our label. And on press of 3 of these buttons, so on the press of the first button, I'm first checking if we have proper Android plugin initialized. If yes, then just call this get is user signed in method. Now this you can call it inside on ready as well. Like if suppose if the user has already signed it into your app, if he's opening the app or game for the second or third or fourth time, then you can just use this particular method to check if the user details like the access token or whatever all other details you are saving it inside your internal storage is present or not. Like you don't need to save it inside your internal storage, that is managed by Facebook. Like the access token part is managed by Facebook, but using the access token again you can get all the other fields. And on sign in pressed, again we are calling the sign in method. On sign out pressed, I'm calling sign out method. Okay, now what else? So I have already one more thing. Go to project, export, and here inside Android, make sure you check whatever architecture your Android app is running on. In case if you don't know, select all 4 of this of the architecture, and here you should check this use Gradle build checkbox as well. Okay, I think that should be it. Also I have already shown you, like click install Android build template. Let's see what else. Here also one more thing, like if you go to project, export, and when you add Android, here at the bottom you might be seeing an error called, and it might has a fixed import button. Just click on it and it should import everything for you. Also if you want to add your inside, go to editor settings. If you are doing it for the very first time, like creating an Android plugin, you might need to add your debug key as well as Android SDK path. So the debug key is mostly in this location for Mac OS. I'm not really sure about Windows or Linux. And Android SDK path you can just find it from Android Studio as well. I have also checked the Wi-Fi for remote debugging option inside editor settings, so that I can do Wi-Fi debugging, because my Mac OS does not support like the USB which my Android has. And here there is new thing in Godot 4.2.2. if you are getting some error related to Java path, you can just write this. If you are on a Mac, again the JDK version might differ. If you want more information, you can just go to this particular issue and you should be able to find appropriate details. Now what I'll do is I'll quickly run my app and show you the output. So I'll just select current. Okay guys, so I made a small mistake. The issue is that when I ran my app, the app actually went into this catch clause because the email is null. So what I did was I just commented this out, and again you will have to run this particular command gradle./gradlew.assemble. So this particular command in the root of your Android project. The reason is that because we selected it is a game app while creating our registering our app on the Facebook SDK, right? That's why we are not able to get email. But if it was not a game app, then we have received email as well, but provided you will have to change this to part as well, like the public profile picture and email, this should be present. Anyways, so just run gradle./gradlew assemble. Again you will get this 2 files, and you will have to drag the debug file to the debug folder, change the name to whatever is your plugin name, and release file to the release folder, change the name to whatever is your plugin name -release.ar, and they were present inside the inside your library build outputs AR folder. Okay, Now you can run your app. So I'll quickly show you the output. So I'll just mirror my device using Android Studio. I'll just remove all this junk, and here you can see this is my app. Now if I haven't signed in yet, so if I click on get user details, here you can see I display a message like user not, like I should have written a proper message, but yeah, it's fine. Here you can see this is the message. Now if I sign in, now before like creating this tutorial, I have already signed in. So I will just select my profile which has already been signed in, but if you are doing for the very first time, it will ask you for your email ID and password. So I'll just continue, and here you can see it has given us the name as well as our ID. Okay, now suppose if I if I want to get the user details again, because the output is same, I don't think anything will change. Here you can see at least we didn't get the toast message. That means our user details was received. Again, the output was same, that's why you didn't see any change. If I click on sign out, so it has sign out. If I now click on get user details, here you can see the toast message was displayed. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.